Greetings, everyone. Um, my name is John Dupuy, and I am a CEO of WeAwake. But this is the thing we've been doing for a long time. Weekly, we call it WeAwake. We meditate together. We use the different selected tracks, and that entrain the brain to these desired meditative states. And today we're going to do a track that I really love. It's one of my favorites. It's by Douglas Prater, colleague and friend, and it's called Infinity. And there's two in the app. If you purchase this or you already have it, there's two 1 hour tracks. And the first one is called The Song of Infinity, and the second one is called The Stream. And this one is going to be the second one, Stream. It's an hour long. However, we're only going to do a half hour. Um, so that's what we thought. It's kind of hard for people oftentimes to meditate for a whole hour, which is a really good thing if you have the time. But so, having said that, it has been on my mind a lot lately that things are changing so rapidly in our existence due to technology. And of course, that even affects our politics and everything else. It's just so overwhelming. I mean, I have a watch that keeps trying to send me news things. Like, shut up. It's just constant. And so what I found is really, really, really useful and important is to have a time, preferably in the morning, before you've gotten into the day, before you've read your emails, before you've looked at the news, or you do any of this stuff, before you've checked your texts, just to have a time where you do your kind of sacred individual thing. Have a place, have it set up, get up, do whatever your ablutions or whatever you have to do, and then go there and boom, focus on the interior work and the presence. And that's really, really helpful because I know a lot of people that are getting overwhelmed if you just stay on the 24-hour news cycles. It's just too much for a lot of us to take. And it is designed, it's designed to be clickbait. It's designed to suck you in. It's designed to be addictive. And it can really be very much soul draining, emotionally and spiritually just exhausted. So we all have to learn our own tolerance levels. How much can we handle? Some people have decided, I'm off, I'm off the grid. I'm not going to listen to any of it anymore. And that seems to help. Some of us feel that we need to, we're citizens and we need to know kind of what's going on so we can make informed choices and do what we can to make the world a better place. But if you just do that and you don't have a soul-centric spiritual practice, it's going to be really rough. And Iwake meditation is not the only way to do that. There's lots of activities that you can do. There's just walking in nature, hanging out with an animal that's not human, uh, hanging out with a human animal, dancing. I used to do a lot of sweat lodges. Uh, all of these things, can really help us to strengthen our soul. You see all the tribal cultures, they always use music and drumming and dancing. If they were celebrating a marriage or a birth or a death or a hero or something good happening, they would dance it out, And I've been to those active sun dances and to vision quests, and really, really a lot of wisdom in that. But the thing is, we need to have practices that help us to be in touch with who and what we are at the deepest level, and to cultivate and nourish that. Because if you don't, if you don't feed it, you don't feed your soul, it gets really, really, it gets drains you, it gets really weak. It's like, I think what Jesus talked about says, what is the profit of man if he gain the whole world and lose his own soul? So we have to do things that help us not to lose our contact and our touch with our souls. And one other thing, let me say this about that, as President Kennedy used to say. He actually said, now let me say this about that. I think that's Kennedy impression. You guys, none of them would was born during that time, so except for maybe Heidi. But let's say this. Um, a lot of times, and this is not just when you're meditating, but a lot of times we have strong emotions and feelings that emerge, okay, when we're living. Oftentimes when we're meditating, things will start coming up. Or if you get in you know, an argument with your significant other or with your child or your boss or this or that or anything, or you're just reading the news and you start to feel really down and dark and discouraged and depressed. All these are powerful feelings, and that they come up in our bodies. And many of us who are head oriented, we don't realize that. But if we start paying attention, we can feel it. It's in our gut. My stuff usually happens here. And so this is, I taught my students this when we were running an integral recovery treatment center in our home in Utah. And this was to help people process and deal with their trauma and negative emotions from the past and stuff that's coming up now. And there's a lot of it when you don't meet many alcoholics or addicts who don't have really rough trauma in their past, and not many human beings for that matter, but definitely with my students. So we had to learn to process this. So maybe we can practice this during this meditation and just pay attention to, whatever is bothering you. I mean, you guys just went through earthquakes and typhoons. I mean, there's a lot of stuff comes up from that stuff. And of course, in the United States, we have all this political turmoil and the apparent, just collapsing of our democracy that we were so confident about, right? It's really being attacked right now. So these are things that can produce strong emotions, or sometimes we just have sadness and depression, and we may not know what it's about, but it's there. So I'm suggesting, if in this silence, if you maybe want to think about an issue that you're working on, a relationship, or whatever it might be in your life, or one of your children or something that starts bringing up emotions and you feel it in your body, you practice is to say, this is what I say, welcome, teacher. You welcome it. You don't try to fix it. You don't try to, do happy stuff so you don't feel it or whatever. You don't medicate it. You just say, welcome, teacher, and you sit with it and relax and completely allow it to be there. And the question is what am I supposed to be learning? I know you know what your mind says about sadness or despair or anger. You have all this stuff coming up, but what's really going on in your body, and what can you learn from that? And once you begin to befriend these emotions and feelings, they really are a portal to opening up to deeper awareness and consciousness and awareness of your soul, and getting rid of the egoic things that block our relationships to spirit, to God. And that's a lot of the work, is just removing the obstacles. And this is a good practice for doing that. So feel it where you're feeling it and say, welcome, teacher, and ask, what am I supposed to be learning? And then just be quiet and listen and see what comes up. And oftentimes, if you're really consciously working with this thing, if you're working with some kind of internal pain, it will actually seem to get more strong as you pay attention to it, because you're not trying to divert yourself, and it builds up and then begins to release. And often there will be kind of an inner knowing and inner lesson that comes from that, oh, okay, well, thank you. And oftentimes there's a shift in the level of energy, because in these painful memories and stories and all stuff, they seem to trap a lot of psychic energy. And when we work through them and we release them, that gives us more release, more energy to be happy, to be creative, to be a human being, to be in relationship, and be more wise and compassionate. So let us take that to heed as we get into this meditation. And I'm ready. It's a half hour. And if I keep meditating, I'm in a trance or something, you guys can just go on with your day and just leave me there. But hopefully I'll just be doing this for a half hour. So, well, thank you, everybody. It was a really good experience. And this is Stream of Infinity is the name of this. And it's part of Infinity. Anyway, it's normally a 1 hour track. So if you can imagine how good that was for a half hour, just, and normally with these things, the longer you meditate, the deeper it gets. So, mm, you know, again, what we're saying before, that these times of great stress on our central nervous systems, more than any of our ancestors had. I mean, there's always been stress, there's always been wars, there's always been famines, there's always been all these things, but we never, ever had our brains bombarded with so much information, so much stuff constantly. So, and I think we can feel the fruits of that when we get lost in that, because, it might last for a while. It's like being high, it's last for a while. Oh God, this is not so good. It gets to be awful. And so take time to listen and cultivate and nurture your soul, you know. And I mean, we have to integrate our deeper self, that is our connection to God, as an individual thing, which is what we are. And we have to nurture that and take care of it as much as we can. And also, I've come to realize that I can't do it of my own accord. Though I've been pretty disciplined meditating for a lot of years now, I can't achieve enlightenment. I can't do anything for my little self. You know, it's got to be grace. So they say in Christian, it's undeserved mercy, I guess is the way you might describe it. And that's what it feels like. And realize that through all your discipline, and I think it's very important, but even given that, you could be just the most disciplined meditator and in the world, and doesn't guarantee anything. The only it's got to be something that comes from a higher level, higher self, deeper self, if you will. So listen to the wind, the ocean, if you're blessed to have ocean. Walk in the sand, do deep inner prayer, if that's feels to be the direction that that you're in. Just sit there, focus in your heart, and allow the presence to be there, however it manifests itself. Poetry, another thing. I've been reading T.S. Eliot's East Coker poem recently, and if you've ever read it, like, wow. So not all poetry is like that, but he definitely, in this particular poem, tremendous deep song, poem. Walt Whitman was also a favorite of mine. And I don't have it here, but a friend of mine, Bob Weathers, Dr. Bob Weathers, who's been on the Deep Transformation podcast a couple of times, and recovery is his specialty, working with addicts and alcoholics. He's a really wise, beautiful man. And he wrote this book with a friend of his, James Finley, who's also been on the podcast. And so basically, he just takes this dissertation, parts of this dissertation that he wrote on contemplative psychotherapy. Jim did 40 years ago to get his doctorate. And it is so wise and it's so beautifully poetic. And then Dr. Bob guides us into, okay, take this theme and think about it write it out, share it with a friend, or write a poem about it, write a haiku or something like that. And I've been adding that as a part of what I do. Just reading this, it doesn't take me long. I mean, what comes up, and write out a small poem, and it's really blessed me with kind of sparked my creativity and my flow and my conscious attention to spirit, to God. Uh, I'll share a little one I wrote a while back. It said, "Words are not words. They are spells. The universe is magic." Words are not words. They are spells. The power in the universe is magic. And ultimately, it is a mystery. You know, we can try to explain that. Well, God did it. That's true. Where did God come from? Some things we just can't know. And I think those who deal with physics and quantum physics and looking at trying to get to the bottom of what it is down there, and what they find and there's something else, then there's something else, and then there's just nothing. Everything comes from nothing. How does that happen? I don't know. And they're pretty sure that mathematics won't get us there. Mathematics can't equate, computate anyway these deep things, and we can experience the mystery. We can experience the absolute in our lives, in our hearts, and our souls. But I just can't get it. That old question: why is there something rather than nothing? I don't know. But and that can just be kind of mind blowing. But when you learn that this mystery, this essence, this true nature is good, it's loving, it's kind, it's strong, all these things. Those aren't things that we have to search for outside of ourselves. Those are things that are already in our deepest nature. It's already there. It was sewn into the fabric of the universe. And it's very intimate. You don't have to worry about it getting lost in the vastness of the eternity of God or anything. It's so intimate. Rumi one time said that God is closer to you than an eyelash that's come out of and that's resting on your eyeball. God's closer than that. So, yeah, Rumi's a good one if you want to just explore the intimacy of the great mystery that is love and that is existence. He's a great poet. Oh, yeah, take care of yourself in the morning. Don't start getting the news and all these things. And if you have other responsibilities, if you're a parent and you have kids and all this stuff, make sure you get up earlier and take care of yourself. Because unless we pay attention to our own connection, our own soulfulness, it's very hard to be of service to anyone in a good way. And as John Lennon said, we become just more of the problem instead of the solution. So the solution is within us, but we just have to give attention to what is there and ask for guidance. Thank you, teacher. What am I supposed to be learning? I guess that's it for today.